Well, hello, everybody. It is the Dennis and Andy Show with your weekly movie review. We know how much you look forward to these. Um, well, we did not go to the theater to see a movie this week because honestly, not. I mean, I'm sure something came out, but we're looking at the list and we're like, yeah, we don't care about any of this stuff. So instead of skipping a week, if that ever happens, don't you fear. There's so much streaming stuff out there. We'll find something. And what do you know? A new Kevin Hart movie dropped on Netflix a few days ago. So we watched that. It wasn't the same though, without the sound of Dennis chomping on popcorn and his big ass 89 200-ounce drink next to us in between the seats and sitting in a dark theater together. But that's okay. He was at his house, I was at mine, and I can
My
always
my,
go a week
my whole
without Dennis.
family decided to watch this movie with us. It's Kevin Hart. It stars Kevin Hart and Sam Worthington, and you know, it's a Kevin Hart. It's going to be a comedy, so even my whole family's like, let's give it a shot. Why not? Everybody kind of likes Kevin Hart.
It's a heist movie. It's in the vein of, Kevin. It's in the vein of, there's a group of 5 people or so that go around doing these big ticket heist jobs, and there's always the leader, Kevin Hart. There's always somebody that knows how to drive or pilot anything. There's always the safe cracker who can figure out in a very small amount of time how to crack the most hardcore safes. There's always some technician, somebody there's an expert at everything. Surprised in this, Vincent D'Onofrio, who I love as an actor, just love that guy. Um, he's in it, and his part wasn't that big, which really surprised me because I don't see him ever taking roles where he's more in the background. He is basically a master of disguise, which I really do think is great casting because that dude is, to me, just one of the best actors out there. And partly because he can slide in and out of different roles.
Yeah.
So great casting for that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, this movie follows a master thief, and he's got an Interpol agent that he had a past relationship with, and
Ooh.
she needs him. Interpol needs him to steal $500 million in gold bullion to being transported, from a plane. And the big bad in this one, it's revealed is Jean Reno, which instantly that's one of my wife's favorite actors of all time. So
Yep.
she was in on this. And this felt like a lighthearted version of like the Italian Job, things like
Right.
that. Everybody's got their role. These guys only steal art from people that deserve it, necessarily not good guys. Let's kind of put it that way.
They're the Robin Hood of the art field.
Yeah. The one
Art
thing that
world.
I did get a kick out of this was, their big first one when they're walking in to steal it. It's set up, Interpol's watching them, and it's all about them stealing an NFT. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't even hear anything about NFTs anymore. I was just like, this movie instantly, I was like, is this a joke? Wow, it really is about NFT. But
Yeah.
then it's really about the artist of the NFT.
Right.
So it was cute.
And the artist of the NFT, small role, but recognizable, is the actor that plays Peter Parker's best friend, Ned, I believe is his name, in the Tom Holland Spider-Man
Yeah,
movies.
Jacob Batalon. He was
Yeah.
great. He pulled it off because he's got that disease where he has no hair and stuff. As soon as he pulled off the mask, all three of us were like, "Oh, look at that! We love
Hmm.
him as an actor."
Yeah. And then the FBI, or not FBI, Interpol agent, another really recognizable actress. I never knew her name until I looked it up. So I'll let Dennis tell you her name.
Yeah, it's Gugu, and here's the funny thing. We were sitting there because there's two Interpol agents. There's the girl who plays Abby. It's Gugu, and then Sam plays Huxley, Sam Worthington, and we're all looking at him and we're like, "What is he from?" And I'm like, "He's military. He always plays
Avatar.
military."
Avatar.
Right. Well, and then Elizabeth, we refuse to look it up. We hate looking things up. So in the halfway through the movie, all of a sudden my daughter goes, "Oh my God, he's blue." I'm like, "Yes, Avatar."
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I'm
like
like,
I said, I was really impressed with the actors they got for this because I don't know, it just for
yeah,
this type of movie, I just
yeah,
didn't think they'd pull in this really nice cast.
yeah.
Everybody did great.
Jean Reno being the bad guy, he
Yeah,
always has to have a heavy, the guy who, the right hand man that does it. They got Gorman. Again, whenever you see him in the film, it's usually he's playing the bad guy or the heavy hitter for it. And, it's everything was very stereotypical. This movie was very vanilla. It was incredibly simplistic. It was straightforward. It was everything you would expect it, but there was one twist in the movie. We'll talk about this in the spoiler section, but all the characters were fun. They were enjoyable. I didn't dislike anybody in it. Billy Magnussen, he played Magnus, and he was fun. He was the wisecracker out of the group,
yeah,
and I think he's the one. I think he's going to be in the new movie Roadhouse
yeah,
that we're looking
yeah,
at. And Misan was played by Yoon Kim, and she was cute. She was adorable. And the guy who played Luke, I mean, you go through the entire cast, they were all fine in this movie.
yeah.
Yeah, uh,
And it had its and like Dennis said, we'll do a spoiler review. It had all the tropes of a group heist movie. It really did. I mean, it just was it really did check them off.
yeah,
Um, not that that really, took away from it. But at the same time, because it did check them off like that, you're just kind of going, okay, it's almost like when they wrote this, they had that checklist of tropes for, more lighthearted, you could say, heist movies. And so, you can look at it as a positive or a negative. Let's give our CGC reviews on this so we can move on, or rating so we can move on to the spoiler part. I'll go first. I think you did last week. Um, the funny thing is, it was enjoyable, but at the same time, honestly, I think it's forgettable. And after an hour and 45 minutes when it was over, I wasn't left with the feeling of, oh, that's time I'll never get back, like some garbage movies. But I also wasn't left with the feeling of, oh my God, I'm so glad I watched this. And unfortunately, uh, I'm just giving it a 6.0. I really it's forgettable, I've seen better Kevin Hart movies, and as much as I like Vincent D'Onofrio, I was kinda let down that he wasn't in it more
yeah,
because he's such a good actor. So, it's a 6.0. It's Netflix. If you're doing stuff around the house and, you know, uh, you have the time and you wanna throw something on, turn it on because worst case scenario, if after a half hour, if you agree with us, you can turn it off and go on about your day.
yeah. I can't believe we're actually fairly close on this one. I actually thought we might be farther apart. Um, I'm giving it a 5.5.
Oh,
I thought it was forgettable. It was very by the books. It was cute. I'll delve into the budget part of it later. The special effects were okay, wonky at parts. The story was literally A to B to C to D,
oh
and
yeah,
it was very vanilla. Kevin Hart really tried taking on the serious part of the role, like he wanted to be like the leading man.
yeah, because he wasn't jokey like he normally
Right.
is.
No, he saved that for Billy Magnussen, who was, and he was really fun. Overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. There was nothing I disliked. There was also nothing phenomenal about it. It was just okay. I would have been more disappointed had I paid to go to the theater to see it.
Oh
But
yeah,
like you kind of alluded to, it was on Netflix. If you're looking for something, it's cute, it's fun, it's enjoyable. A 5.5. It's worth seeing once.
yep. So now, guys, if you don't want to hear spoilers, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our live streams or pre-recorded vids like this. And now we'll talk about spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Hello, spoiler section. Um, well,
Dude, I
before
was
we get into
shocked.
stuff, I'm dying to know what this twist is you're talking about because what 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 is it?
The, what I mean, the twist was, well, it wound up not being a twist in the end, but you know how they swapped out the gold bars
Oh
for
yeah, no, I mean that to me that was
because they didn't even allude to it. That's the thing. There was nothing in there other than when Luke didn't get on the plane and he's like, "Oh, I can't do this," and looking at her, I'm like, "Oh, something's up," because his team wouldn't do that to him no matter what. So I
no,
was like,
but you know what the problem when they showed that scene where the one guy, Luke, whatever his job was, he's kind of a technical guy too, and
"Yeah,
he just couldn't go through with it. And everybody's on the plane. Kevin Hart and the Interpol agent are playing like while they're on the plane, they're playing like they're a couple, and they get the phone call from Luke, and it's one of those things once again where Kevin Hart and Luke obviously are in on this. They know Kevin knows Luke is full of shit, right? So it's fine that he gets the phone call from Luke and he has to tell, the Interpol agent, oh my, he's not gonna be able to do it, but don't worry, we can still handle it. But when they cut to Luke, who is still in the airport sitting there saying, I can't go through with it, it's just one of those things where it's like his body posture and everything is selling this. Oh, I just can't go through with it. And the reason I bring it up as being kind of lame is yes, visually it helps sell it that we see him kind of like, oh, I can't go through with it as the audience to swerve us away. But at the same time, it's like if you call in sick to work. If I call in sick to work, they can't see me. They can only hear me. So I could be sitting back all casual and just be like, yeah, guys, I can't come in. I'm not feeling well. So there's really not a point for him to visually have to sell it either when he's talking to Kevin Hart. I mean, honestly, anybody could have called Kevin Hart and just been like, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna have chicken and turkey for dinner, blah, 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 because Kevin knows he's gonna hang up and go, oh
yeah,
no, that's Luke. He's not going to be able to go
yeah."
through it.
Like I said, I don't want to belabor the point, but you know that was the twist for the audience. That was the one twist in the
Right.
movie, and but it didn't really. They didn't show how they got to it until the end, where they went back. You're like, okay, all right,
Which is another trope of these comedy heist movies is at the end of the movie, oh yeah, we also did this. How did you do that? And then
yeah,
they go through the sequences of, well, so and so did this and so did this. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever.
yeah. Genre. The couple of the actors that I have to touch base on. One is Jean Reno. We love him as an actor.
Oh, he's
As I
great.
said, it's my wife's favorite, but man, they did not give him enough to do. I do not like villains that, and this is what they gave him for a role. He did fine with his role, but it was like he's on the phone. Oh yeah, have the dogs eat him. On the phone. Oh yeah, do this, dude. You're the big bad guy that's supposed to be on there, and half of it until the end was all on the phone. It was like, what a waste of talent. That it was a big
Right.
waste. And the other big waste of talent was, you alluded to it, Vincent D'Onofrio, which his character, so he's the master of disguise, right?
Right.
And I loved it. I loved his portrayal of it, but he's also like the worst master of disguise ever, like on purpose. I don't know. Should I use this one or this one? And he's looking at the beards, and you're like, well, it really doesn't matter which one you're going with because you're so bad at this job. So they hint at it a couple of times in the movie that he's this master of disguise, but every single time it's so bad that it's almost like a running joke that he's this master, but he's the worst master you've ever seen. And you never get a payoff on whether he is good or not. But his interaction with Kevin Hart, with Cyrus, was great when he was trying to convince him about the girlfriend, and that he's, oh, make this face and look at her and da da da. They had some great parts, but it never went far enough to develop it. This movie was an hour and 48 minutes, and it needed character development. By add another 15 minutes, and I think this movie would have gotten a lot better.
Yeah. So what was the budget on this thing?
This was the big surprise on this. Because the CG in some spots were pretty decent, and in
Right.
other spots you're like, oh wow, it was $100 million, and that surprised me. It was that much for what we got. So I'm thinking it has to be a lot of it for these actors to come on.
It's got to be, because you look at 80 million for the creator and what it looked like compared to
And it was
a
phenomenal.
hundred. I mean, I looked at this movie and I'm like, once again, I've said it and I'll keep saying it. Money is just getting inflated for this stuff to where it's got to be like just funneled back in somehow. Where it's like, how much is catering? $5 million. It's like, what? Because I I would have guessed the budget on this movie was like $50 million. None of those actors are getting $20 million, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's ridiculous. But anyhow, guys, it really, I mean, Dennis even said it earlier. It's like the Italian Job. Except the
But that
Italian
was
Job.
far
I mean, the
superior.
Italian Job did have some, jokes in it and stuff. It was a lighthearted heist movie as well. It was more dramatic than this one, but yeah, it really is just forgettable. And I think part of it too is usually when Netflix puts something out like this with somebody like Kevin Hart, you hear about it before it comes out on Netflix. I heard nothing. I was just, when we earlier in the week, we kept seeing what's coming out Thursday, what's coming out Thursday. And I said, well, let me look at Netflix, see if there's anything we can watch. And it was right there. And it was already out. It wasn't like coming soon, which you'll see sometimes. It was already out.
Yeah.
And
It
I
was
was like, oh. And the funny thing is, I never heard of it. So I'm like, oh, is this one of those movies that came out like 4 or 5 years ago that Netflix is like, all right, let's show it now? Then I click on it and it said 2024. And I'm like, oh, damn, I never heard anything about this. So that put up some warning signals too. So,
Yeah, but with that being said, my whole family watched it. Everybody liked it. They thought it was fine. They thought it was cute. It was fun. It wasn't a waste of time. And I kind of walked away with the same thing. So if you got time, you know what? It's worth a watch. You probably watch it once, but it was cute. It had some fun parts.
that's right. And what is also fun, and you could say cute, is Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. Guys, this book is now 64 pages. We are only $99 away from 8 grand, $199 away from the next, or not 100, I'm sorry, $1,099 away from the next stretch goal, which will make this book a nice wire spiral bounding. So you really can open it up and lay it flat, which makes it easier to look at, easier for scanning. If you want to scan in some of the pencils that are featured in the book, it's basically a book featuring some of my favorite fully penciled pages from the past 20 years. Pretty much the inker and the editor were the only ones that saw this stuff. Now you can too. It does come in a digital format. I could scroll through the campaign, but I want you to. So go to the link in the description below and take your time, scroll through it, look at the different options that are available, and pick this up. A nice art book that'll look good on your bookshelf, and you can learn from it as well. And also coming Thursday is the sign up page for Core Draft The Awakening. Core Draft Volume 2, the saga continues. We will be launching the sign up page next Thursday. So join us Thursday afternoon for that. And there you go. And then next Wednesday on the Dennis and Andy show, it'll definitely be me there with Richard Stanke. He's a colorist that is working on a new project we're going to talk about. And Dennis might be here. He might not. We'll find out. next Wednesday. So
That's
stay tuned. He has an appointment in the morning that could knock him out for the rest of the day. We'll see. It's, getting all your teeth pulled out so you can get dentures and never have to brush your teeth again. I don't know if it's worth it. I'd rather have them fall out on their own, but Dennis is just being preventative and going, you know what? Brushing my teeth takes too much time. I'm just going to get a full rack of dentures. So that's what he's doing. At least that's the story I'm telling. And he can't refute it. Like, subscribe, share. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. This book features 52 pages of some of my favorite full pencils that I did for other companies over the past 2 decades. The raw pencils as they were seen by the inker, and now you can see them for the first time. This book also comes in a digital format so you can practice your inking in your favorite program. Back it today.